I love this quote from artist Linnell Grant: relationships be sweet until they're sticky. So that is what the topic is in this week's session of the Law for Love living room, because there are so many different ways that people show up, so many people ways that people seek to figure out the stickiness of the relationship when conflict happens. And conflict resolution and your style of conflict resolution has a lot to do with the quality of your relationship and whether or not your relationship is even going to make it. You can see patterns, right? Where you'd rather cut someone off and take off, or begin character assassinating rather than inviting a person to the table. These are all ways that people process the pain of the inevitable stickiness of any relationship. More than a decade ago, I began a blog called Angry Women Anonymous because I was working full time at Atlanta Legal Aid. I was um, leading in the community as an advocate and an advisor, and secretly was struggling in my private life with uncontrollable rage. And in order to cope and manage with the rage that I was feeling, it was literally Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Like, I give you the shirt off my back and do everything for you in public spaces. And then in private, I was so afflicted with rage. And one thing led to another, where I had to make a move. I had to acknowledge how angry I was and get to the root cause of the anger. On Angry Women Anonymous, I blogged anonymously as Gummy Bear for more than a year. When I finally healed in the space of uh, anger, and the one consistent remedy was forgiveness. Forgiveness is something that everybody knows you're supposed to do. It's something that everybody talks about. But for me, when I think about forgiveness, I think about it as a choice, because a lot of times it doesn't feel like forgiveness does anything good, right? Your choice is not your emotion. You can choose forgiveness in the moment. You did me wrong, I forgive you, but you still feel the sting of what happened. Just because you still feel the sting doesn't prevent you from saying, you know what, I'm not going to hold this. I'm going to let it go. I'm choosing forgiveness. And sometimes you got to have this conversation with yourself every day until your emotions align with the choice. Very often people had a conversation, love is an action word. The biggest action in love, from my perspective as someone who has recovered and healed from uncontrollable rage, has been forgiveness. Has been having that conversation in that quiet moment by myself, even saying very lightly under my breath, I forgive. I choose to forgive. This is a mindset. This is not about how you're feeling. This is not about how you're going to fix it. This is choosing not to imprison yourself in a place that only gets darker and more painful. So, here, when answering the question, how do I love when I can't forget how you hurt me? The first step in my book is to make the choice, regardless of how you're feeling. Choose forgiveness. The next step after you make a choice is going to be release. Because what happens when we don't forgive, there's this root that takes place inside of us, and the perfect soil for this seed, for this root to grow, is is hurt, it's brokenness, it's sorrow and suffering and pain, and resentment thrives in that type of soil. Resentment is a weed to the spirit that grows deeper and deeper and deeper, and it begins to taint and make everything, it darkens everything in its shadow. It impairs us from seeing the benefit of the doubt. It impairs us from seeing the goodwill or intention of someone. And it drives the emotion of hatred to want to destroy, to want to hurt back, to want to get your lick back, to want to go on a war path fueled by hatred. Hey, the hatred comes from this pain, right? Relationships be sweet until they be sticky. And now that it's sticky, because you didn't prepare yourself for the stickiness, you didn't accept the inevitable frustration or conflict or disagreement. You walked into a situation where eyes wide shut, never imagining that this person would ever hurt you in this way. And now, because you feel like you got caught off guard, your emotions will drive you to hatred, resentment, and a warpath that leads only to self destruction. When I talk about the type of soil that resentment grows in, it's the same type of soil that attracts disease. The same type of soil that dries the bones. There's a proverb that says that bitterness dries the bones. Like the Proverbs was actually showing you the spiritual relationship between disease and your emotion. And so, everybody talks about energy and the kind of energy you don't give and you will give. Resentment is battery acid to the soul. And it is the easiest place to turn to when we are hurt, when we are disappointed, when we are betrayed, when we are mistreated, when something just was completely unfair. This is the low hanging fruit of wickedness that many of us, myself, I'll be the first one to admit, stumble upon and get tripped up on and end up on the wrong path in the opposite direction of love. There is no love where there is resentment. Because in resentment, you have an emotion where you are afraid of being made a fool of. You are afraid of being hurt again. You are afraid that this other person is not going to get what they deserve. And so you decide that you are going to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner. You are going to go on the warpath and you're just going to leave blood everywhere. That's what this emotion does. By recognizing this and by making a decision that you will not allow the soil of your mind and of your emotion to make it comfortable for resentment to live, this is how you stay on the path of love. And so finally, I want to talk about granting mercy. And last year, I was led by the Holy Spirit to do a comprehensive Bible study concerning all of the miracles of the Bible. I am writing the book, The Law of Compassion, which helped me to see what was actually happening legally in every single one of the miracles of Yahusha and the legal transaction that was taking place. So again, I will begin writing that text prayerfully, Yah willing, this summer, and teaching what love really is from a legal standpoint. Mercy is the side of the coin of judgment that does not give you what you deserve. The other side of mercy or judgment is wrath or indignation. And the best illustration of it that comes from the Bible is when the Most High got tired of the wickedness of the earth, he he flipped from mercy and giving people a chance to do better on their own. He flipped to indignation and he flooded and destroyed the earth, with the exception of the animals who were preserved and the 8 human lives. That was indignation. Indignation is the side of judgment that resentment leads to. Indignation is the side of judgment that unforgiveness leads to. And when you understand that mercy is the default nature of the creator, why we woke up this morning with breath in our lungs, why we have another opportunity to make things right with our creator and with other people. This is mercy. This is the default nature of the Most High. A lot of people see him in the light of fire and brimstone, which is true. Like, he is nothing to play with. But when you consider the historical record, how often he has turned to indignation and wrath, it is a much smaller percentage of how he shows up in relationship to us than the way that he shows up in mercy. And this is a pattern of what our mindset set needs to be when it comes to people when they do us wrong, when people come for us, when people hurt us. And if you want to know how to love after someone has hurt you, even though you can't forget, I'm not even here telling you to forget that somebody hurt you, because sometimes, depending on who that person is and how they hurt you, you need to remember so that you can understand the character of this person and how their character dictates what a wise relationship with this person might look like. I'm not saying sit up here and just be Jesus on the cross and let everybody hammer you to a cross. Like, no. But when you realize that you are the recipient of great and abundant mercy, and you realize that you're just like the guy who went to the king, he owed the king, let's say he owed the king $100,000. And the king said, you know what? Because the man said, I can't pay it. I want to pay it, but I just can't pay it. Will you please have mercy on me, king? The king looked and had pity on the man because he saw that the man was in a position that he could never repay his debt. And he granted that man a bankruptcy. And the same man who just got a bankruptcy discharge from $100,000, he went outside and he jacked up his neighbor who owed him $20 and shook the man by his collar for $20, having forgotten how much he had just been forgiven. This was a great act of wickedness in the sight of the king. And when it got back to the king, what the man had done, he threw his rump in jail. He was ungrateful for the mercy he received, so much so that he didn't give $20 worth of mercy after he had received $100,000 worth of mercy. This is what I'm saying. This is where the path of love goes. It goes to a place of seeing you in your condition, aside from the fact that you hurt me. Like the king who granted the bankruptcy, that was $100,000 debt. Like, that wasn't a little bit of money he bankrupted for that guy. He might have had plans for that money that man owed him. It wasn't as easy as we might assume for the king to give the man the bankruptcy. But he did it anyway. And the same thing is what the Most High does for us. We get mercy all of the time. The scripture says that every day when you wake up and you see that sun, the sun is a reminder of the mercy that you received to even see today. If you like me, the only thing you deserved was death. The only thing you deserved was to be cracked over your head, dead in the street somewhere, being in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people. The fact that I survived my 20s, my teens and my 20s, is a testament of the existence of the Most High himself. And being a recipient of such great mercy has put me in a position to be merciful towards others. Reminded of how foul and off the chain and out of order I have been and can be at times. And when we remind ourselves of our imperfections, when we remind ourselves of where we've fallen short of the glory of the Most High, when we remind ourselves that we're all walking around in flawed, failing flesh, then we can extend mercy and no longer be on a warpath to destroy the person that hurt us. Now, there are some steps we got to take after we give mercy and after we've released resentment and after we've chosen forgiveness. And that's what we're talking about in the Law for Love living room this week. But these three things I would encourage you and bless you to keep in mind when it stings the most, when it hurts the most, when the person who the one who you trusted with the closest of your secrets, who you were the most vulnerable with, the person who you never imagined would hurt you like that. When they hurt you, think on these things and be reminded that yes, you can love even though you can't forget. And you can heal even though it stings. And you will regain your strength and your joy. Be thankful for the test and the trial that you are going through so that you can be perfected in love. Be blessed and encouraged. So this is my special invitation for you to join us live or click on the link in the description box to access the replay that we have offline in the Law for Love living room. This is an intergenerational, intersex conversation about life, love, and relationships. So whether we're talking about husbands and wives, parents and children, siblings, friendships, Law for Love is here for it, and we are having some conversations in a safe space, which has been, I can't even tell you how remarkable the process of being in this type of small group community has been absolutely life changing for me and helped me navigating those seasons of wrath, rage, and resentment and get into a place where I can truly be myself as a gummy bear, unafraid of people hurting me because I've accepted that people are going to hurt you. I've accepted that all friends ain't friends. I've accepted that people have hidden motives and hidden agendas, but for that to stop you from being who you're called to be is an injustice to the earth. You still need to and deserve to live fully and truly and completely in who you are. And conversations like this are very, very powerful ways to find that healing and that acceptance and that that connection that restores our humanity after the trials of heartbreak. So join us live at the Law for Love Living Room Monday nights at 6:10 Eastern Standard Time. Or you can catch the replay and have access to the replay by registering for the Law for Love Living Room using the link below. I love you and be blessed and encouraged.